Oh, hello. I'll give you a minute. There we go. Hello. Hello, Dragos. Hello, Ian. Yeah. I'm eating a bit of dinner, so this will be the first 10 or so minutes, maybe 5, if I'm. Oh, but it's hot though. Do you ever have that issue sometimes where like the food is annoyingly hot, and you're like, well, I can't eat this fast. I'll hurt myself. Sometimes it be that way. What you eating? I made a frozen pizza because I was feeling very lazy. Which is why it's like, because like, a hot pizza is like, I don't know. No, it's okay. Like fries? Yeah. Sometimes it's really good hot. Yeah. I think about that with like, I don't know, Japanese barbecue, well, Asian barbecue in general. I want that shit like right off the grill. Like, Maestro, hello. Did I finish the dab, he says. Dab. Okay. Is that what you wanted? Is it? Terrible. I think it's great. The mileage you'll get off that? Yeah, I will. Seriously, Josh? I mean, yes. Oh, and we'll see if you all are okay with me having this up. Like, having me on screen for the VN. I did measure it out, and, like, I shouldn't be covering text or anything in this game. But, you know. We'll just see how it goes, right? How many tabs do you have open at a time? It depends on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm just, I don't know, on YouTube, just like a couple or a few. If I'm shitposting on 4chan, then I have like a bunch of my tabs open because it's all the threads. If I'm market watching for card shit, then I have all those tabs open. But it really depends on like what I'm doing in the moment. Cause like, if I'm market watching and I have all like my TCG player tabs open, if I want to switch to watching YouTube, I just exit out of all of those TCG tabs because I'm like, well, I'm not going to be looking at those right now. So, you know. This pizza's kind of crumbly. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of nice. No. Okay, give me one moment. Well. Oh, that one's a good one. This one's a good one. I really like this one. What brand of pizza is it? I don't even know. I just saw that it was on sale and went, yeah, fuck it. Oh, this is the good one. This is like the best one. This is one of the best CGs in the game. It promotes good feelings in the soul. Also, I just want to point out, like always, isn't it funny that this CG is in memories and not trauma? Dave thinks of this as a happy memory, not trauma. that's how I choose to read that situation. That is... I do like this one a lot. It's pretty cute. Did it fuck up anyone else when you realized that the steering wheel was on the right side rather than the left? I was like, oh wait, are we in the Great and Glorious Nihongos? Because that's the only country I've been to where the steering wheel's on that side. It is what it is. Okay, I've eaten one slice of pizza. That's dinner for the week. Wait, was I missing only one? Yeah, 90, 89. Ah, I have to go back and get that that Dean one at some point. Maybe not on stream. Since I know you all don't like Dean. So I won't put you all through that. Or maybe I would. Who knows? Okay. We are here. Yes. Okay. Let me blow my nose real quick. Okay. Okay. I should move this orange. That doesn't need to be there. That's for later. Oh. Okay. Okay. Following Thanatos' direction down to the basement, I started to look around. Immediately, I could tell where the others had gone. The hidden passage door is still open. So I wandered inside, feeling my way along the corridor until I could feel someone standing right in front of me. Who? Benny boy. Benny boy. My eyes adjusted slowly to the dark, and standing before me was Benson, eyes narrowed slightly. Benson? Dave? Have you been searching for the bombs with Haas? Haas has continued on to the library. As for me... He pulled out a bundle and held it up to my face. From what I could make out in the dark, the color was unmistakable. A bomb? Where? Tucked away in a corner of the basement. Relatively easy to find, all things considered. Then that's great. One more to find, right? Indeed. Thanatos and Dean just disarmed the one in the foyer, apparently. That's where we're leaving them as they get found. Very well. Continue along this passage to the library. The door should still be open. He then walked past me in the dark. 2 down, 1 to go. Haas, you still in here? Ah, Haas. Over here. He peeked his head out from behind one of the shelves, and I wandered closer, looking around in a gloomy dark. I don't know how we're meant to find anything in here, honestly. It's so dark. If you brought your flashlight, it'd have been better. Did you run into Benson on the way here? Yeah. You guys found a bomb already. In the basement, yeah. It wasn't hidden all that well. Guess I should have checked there first. We did a run of the gym, too, but there wasn't anything in there. Benson figured that placing one of the bombs in the basement would have been a decent way to have the house fall on top of us. Great. And here Sal was thinking he'd try placing it on the gas line. For a bigger boom? I guess. I don't really know how bombs work, just that they're dangerous. If you know what you're looking for, let's get this done. I'm sure the others are already searching. Haas disappeared back behind the bookcase, and I started my search on the different one. Much like the freezer, the dust was enough to go by as far as who had been where, though the lack of light made it a bit harder. Some vacation, huh? What do you mean? I called out, and I moved on to the next bookcase, thinking it over. A mansion to ourselves, then a scavenger hunt, followed by attempted murder, the mafia, and now bombs. A laugh escaped my throat, but it was bitter and dry. Just some vacation, that's all. Tell me about it. When we get home, I think the last place I ever want to go again is a mountain. So you're going to queue up another vacation? Maybe. I know I'm going to be finding a decent therapist first, though. He appeared from around the corner, looking none too impressed. I'm not finding anything. Neither. Everything else looks untouched, so unless it's tucked away somewhere in the corner, like it was in the basement, I don't think we need to. I trail off with a frown. Hey, Haas, why are we searching the library? Being thorough. Why? Ah. How did you get in here? Benson let me in, obviously. Oh, there's the face of a liar. There's the face of a liar. But the door was closed. If it was, then how would have Jack gotten in? We should look somewhere else. Yeah, good idea. We double back, closing the passage behind us. Oh, there you two are. Dean, have you seen Benson? Not since he dropped off the bomb. Why? Which way did he go? I can't say I was really paying attention. Upstairs, maybe? Huh. Okay. The sudden gunshot rang through the house, and we all froze. Someone firing a gun. Multiple times, apparently. The moment he finished asking, it sounded again. But from where? From who? Is it Memphis? But we still have a bomb left to find. Where's Sal? Where's Roswell? Sal came running out from the dining room, looking around in alarm. What's that? Where's Roswell? Has anyone seen him? I haven't, no. Not since you ran into me before, right? Then where could he be? He could be in trouble. Benson could be in trouble. Are you suggesting we split up? Probably the worst thing we could do right now. Thanatos? Looking over to where he had been moments ago, he was gone now. But where? Where'd he go? We have to make a decision. Sal, take Haas. Dave, you go too. What are you planning on doing? Who's going with you? I'm going to look around. I'll stay quiet. Make sure no one's outside and see if I can locate where Benson and Roswell have ended up. But in the worst case scenario, you three stick together for safety. Isn't Dean a gentleman? He's a good boy. Dean started to scramble up the stairs, slowing down once he'd reached the top and flashed us a thumbs up before disappearing from sight. Sal put a hand on my shoulder and looked between me and Haas, giving a single nod. Once again, we'd been corralled out of... corralled, right? Corralled? Yes, out of the way while something dangerous was going on. Just this time, we're less of us. Haas was still in shock from the sound of the gunfire again. Sal and I were, we're mostly just worried. How long would it be until we heard one way or another? Would it be Thanatos? Would it be another gunshot? Time ticked by before we heard anything. Footsteps and more than one set. I'm back. What happened? Where's... He shook his head, stepping aside to let the other person accompanying him through the door. We have a problem. I'd say Roswell is here now. Roswell's eyes were darting all over the place. He was shaking something fierce, but otherwise seemed fine. What happened? There's no good way to say this, but, Then just say it. I don't think we can afford, to be careful with words right now. Now. Benson's dead. Okay. Sure. Show me a body. What? How? Why? Dean nudged Roswell. Dean nudged Roswell forward, and all eyes went to him. He was playing with his hands, voice cracking when he went to speak. I killed him. What? I'll believe that when I see it, Roswell. I'll believe that when I fucking see it. I was looking around upstairs and he pulled a gun and fired. But why? What possible reason could he have for doing that? Roswell just shook his head, hugging himself. I found Roswell upstairs, huddled in a corner just like this. Couldn't have a gun on him, but Benson was dead there on the ground. There was no gun at all? Nothing? Oh no, there was a gun. 2, actually. But I left them there on the ground and just grabbed Roswell. You should have grabbed the gun. Should have grabbed the gun there, Dean. You never know. I don't understand. Benson tried killing Roswell? How? Why? When did Roswell even have a gun? Everything seems to be going... I don't understand either. But we're not going to get anything out of Roswell while he's like this. I wanted to say it, but it felt wrong. Roswell just killed someone, which meant we could do something about that, right? Was he safe to be around? Was it fine because it was self-defense? So, Benson's dead. That just seems so sudden. If I hadn't seen the body myself, I'd be wondering how true it was. Leave me alone for a little bit, though, and I'm probably going to withdraw myself from the stress. So it's just us? That's all that's left? Roswell nodded slowly, rubbing his eyes. Sal went over to Hoss to make sure he was okay, and I turned to Dean. What do you think? Excuse me. Well, I wasn't there, but I have some serious questions for Roswell. Questions that might need to wait until after we found the last bomb. Well, good thing you don't need to wait anymore. I have the last one here. Sure enough, Thanatos came wandering in, dragging behind him another one of the bombs. What a good boy! What a good boy! Look at him! He's doing it! He's more helpful than, like, anyone else in this game. Disarm this one, and we have some breathing room. Thanatos, where were you just now? Retrieving the bomb. You disappeared when you heard the gunshots, so where? If you must know, it was... it was under the dining room table. Some of you walked right past it without even noticing. But... And now Benson's dead. Funny thing about that. It's not funny at all. Roswell killed him. Yeah, self-defense and all that. Sheesh. Can we just skip to the next part? Which is? Disarming the bomb first. Snatching the bomb off the floor, much like I'd seen Dean do before, he ripped the blasting cap from the rest of the explosive, ensuring the wire snapped. Good. Very good. It's good every time. It's good every single time. I caught sight of Thanatos flashing me a grin before I was knocked out. He'd hit me with that sound again. When I next opened my eyes, I was on my back. We were outside, and I was looking up at the house. What happened? As my vision started to return properly, I could recognize the state of the house in front of me. I could feel the heat. I could smell the smoke. It was very much on fire. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dave-chan. I pulled myself further back, almost choking on the smoke. Why was there fire? Where were the others? Was this because of the bombs? Struggling to my feet, I took a few more steps back. Something in the back of my mind hinted that I knew what was happening. Something was telling me that I knew that I was now alone. Orlando? Roswell? I was coughing mid-yell, a throat scratchy, but I continued yelling all the same. Dean? Sal? Tyson? A few more steps backwards, and I could feel myself start to sob. Hoss? Despite the fire roaring in front of me, despite the heat coming off of it in waves, I felt cold. High above there was a pillar of smoke, something that absolutely would have been seen from a long ways off. Someone, please, help me. It felt like I was laying perfectly still for a bit, then all of a sudden being shifted. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. A hand found my shoulder and shook me gently, and I opened my eyes once more. It was dark, but I was awake. My whole body was sore from wounds I don't remember receiving. Are you all right? Why, hello, Oswin. It's been a bit. I stared blankly at him as he helped me to my feet. I'm okay. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm fine. Can I have the knife back? Yes. Give me the knife, Oswin. Give it to me. Oswin grunted, giving me a look over before handing me the hunting knife I presumably had been after. In his other hand, a sizable revolver. Do you remember what we were doing out here? Of course I remember. I had no idea, but the me that seemed to be in control now, the way his attention went towards a spot in the darkness of the forest, told me that. I could feel his brow furrow and his eyes bore into the spot as if there was something there. Good. Then let's continue. They have something we both want, after all. Question is, are you willing to fight for it? He is your boyfriend, right? Oh. It wouldn't matter if he was my boyfriend. He's important to me regardless. Fair enough. Hopefully that resolve holds. Oswin starts to wander off in a few moments. Wait. And in a few moments, I started to follow. But where were we going specifically? I didn't get to find out. The first step to me felt like stepping off a cliff, the sensation of falling coming immediately after, then quickly to a stop as I felt someone touching me again.
Dave.
I groaned, shifting as I came to my senses. It seemed as though I'd ended up on a sofa, a head resting in Sal's lap. Sal, what happened?
You've been out for a while.
Okay, but what happened?
When Thanatos came in with the bomb, and he gave it to Dean to disarm, he made this sort of squeaking sound.
You mean when I passed out?
It wasn't just you. It knocked out Roswell as well.
Time to interrogate him.
It gave the rest of us headaches, but nothing more than just a bit of pain. It went away pretty quick, even if it was uncomfortable.
And where are the others now?
Dean and Haas went to recuperate in the dining room. Roswell,
Roswell?
Given the recent events, the three of us decided that until we can figure out what to do, we should limit where Roswell goes.
What? How is that fair? Wasn't it?
Self-defense. That's what it sounds like. But we still have to be careful. If what Roswell says is true, then Benson's actions don't make a lot of sense.
So ask him.
He's still unconscious when we detained him, but he's at least in his room.
And how did you keep him there?
We've barricaded the door. Even if he goes to open it, the things in front of the door would make it much harder to escape. And I believe the assumption is, given his current state, he's not strong enough to move any of it.
We should go talk to him.
Thanatos said we had a choice between either talking to him or not, but ultimately it doesn't make a difference.
Because?
He said that it's more important who goes to see Memphis tomorrow. Plus, when you wake up, that we should do that as a group.
Excluding Roswell from the conversation.
Yes. We already know where Roswell stands as far as his health. So we know the option is there, but it's worth discussing regardless.
I got up and Sal followed behind me as I headed towards the dining room. As he said, Dean and Haas were sitting there, Thanatos splayed out on his back, at the far end of the table. What's wrong with him?
Don't know. Said he was just going to sit this one out and wait.
But like that?
He's completely unresponsive, so we've just figured it's best to leave him alone.
Alright, so what now?
Sal, bring you up to speed?
More or less. How exactly was I out? How long was I out for? How long have you been waiting?
3 hours or so. To be honest, you were left on your own for a little bit, but for the most part, I've been in that room with you waiting.
I sat down and rubbed my face. Dean slid a cup of coffee over to me, and I eyed it warily. So Memphis, what are we going to do about that?
Just so I understand this, we can't leave now because Thanatos says we'll run into him and that leads to everyone else dying, right?
Sorry, let me adjust my mic real quick. There we go. Eto. More or less. We looked over to his way, but he stayed on his back, waving us off.
Which is why we have to have someone meeting Memphis tomorrow.
Again, another wave from Thanatos, indicating we were correct. What does that involve, though? Does that mean someone needs to go out and kill him, or just go and talk?
I think the bigger question is what the goal is.
Beyond keeping everyone alive?
I meant more the specific goal of interacting with Memphis.
The way I see it, we have a few options, but... But he's the head of the Mafia, right? So the options are either... I realized what what I was going to say and trailed off. Was Thanatos' intentions to offer one of us up as a sacrifice so the rest of us could get away?
Simply, the interactions with Memphis can either go good or bad. Good in this case is where he doesn't kill the person he's talking with. Bad is that he does. That's maybe being a bit too simple. What if he takes the person hostage?
Ah, Billy, hello.
I would lump that in with the bad outcome, if only that it doesn't get everyone out easily enough. Easily. But if it gets the most people out, is that acceptable?
Of course not! Oh, he's an angry boy. He's an angry boy. I jump up with a growl. We've lost Orlando. Tyson, Benson, and Oswin are both dead, and you want to potentially risk someone else as well?
But what's the alternative?
That we get everyone out, but...
Is there a way to do that now?
Sal's voice went quiet, but when he spoke, he had our attention. It was the way he said it that made me shrink back down into my chair and left the others at a loss.
If we factor in Roswell's condition, regardless of what we come to as far as a decision on how we feel about that, there's a big chance that he's not going to make the trek down the mountain.
He shook his head, breathing out and then closing his eyes.
Roswell would get himself killed. I dare say the same would be the case for you as well, Haas. Dina's a gamble, the same as Dave, so the correct decision to maximize the amount of survivors is to send me.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Billy. What? I don't understand. How is that correct? Actually, give me a second. Yeah. I should grab a cough drop. Yeah. Help my throat not to dry out. Borin, hello.
My past with Memphis, mostly. If he's going to hesitate to kill anyone, it's likely to be me. At the very least, I don't think he'd shoot first and ask questions second, if he sees me.
That's insane.
It's not insane. I may have only crossed his path a few times, but his bias towards what he perceives as strength plays to our advantage. If it means getting those I care about, my friends, off this mountain.
This is fucked up. We don't even know what's going to happen or when. Just that he's going to show up, right?
If we trust Thanatos, we know it's sometime after midnight. That would be the measure of tomorrow.
And you're just going to stay up all night, waiting outside for him to arrive?
Maybe not outside, but yes, that was my plan. And for the rest of us, I leave in your care, Dean.
Okay, yes.
You're the oldest of those remaining once I'm occupied with Memphis.
I look at them all in turn, and the decision starts to sink in. It starts as a chuckle before it becomes manic, full-blown laughter. This was insane. 2 friends already gone, and now potentially a third and a fourth, queued up depending on how things went with Sal. You're kidding.
Dave, take a deep breath.
I did, but all it did was fuel more laughter. Dean got up and wandered closer, dropping one of his hands atop my head, between my ears. It was the, a contact eloque that made me choke. When he went to slowly pat me on the back, I started to cry.
So my plan for now is to get some sleep. Then, be on watch starting from midnight. Are you 3 going to be alright to question Roswell?
No, I'm alright to question Roswell. I don't like that we're treating him like a criminal.
He did kill someone.
In self-defense.
Or so he claims. Innocent until proven guilty. But we need to know the facts of what happened. Yeah, it's only fair. But I don't know the first thing about interrogating someone.
Well, you see, you get out a knife.
Leave it to me. I'll know if he's lying.
We're going to unbarricade the room, right?
Do what you must, but in the worst case scenario, if he's guilty, don't go putting yourself at risk needlessly.
We broke off as we climbed the stairs, as Sal headed towards his room. But Josh is so distracting. I am a distraction, aren't I? It was like they described, a bookcase and a side table seemingly blocking Roswell's door. Roswell? I knocked what parts of the door I could reach and waited.
Not answering, is he?
No. Is he conscious?
Oh, let me think about that for a moment. If only I was in there to know for certain.
You mean you don't know?
This is why I said going to talk to him never mattered. He doesn't respond back then, and now, well.
The sound of the door creaking open caught my attention. Roswell, you're awake? But there was no response. No response came, and I looked to Dean and Haas for an indication of what we should do.
I'll be excusing myself then.
No. I want to hang out with Roswell. I mean, not Roswell. Thanatos. Want to hang out with the Rattle-chan. Thanatos scrambled through the door, the gap in the door, disappearing into Roswell's room.
Roswell, you there?
Why am I locked in my room?
Buddy, do you remember what happened after Dean brought you downstairs?
I remember.
So what happened? Can you tell us?
I already told you. What I know already. I was looking for the bombs. Benson came into the room, pulled his gun out, and tried to shoot me. I shot him back, and, well, now he's dead.
Where did the gun come from, and why did you have a gun?
It was in the room already.
And which room was it?
The conservatory.
Did he say anything? How did he miss the shot?
I don't know.
Roswell, I can hear you lying through the door.
This is the taste of a liar. I'm not lying. Roswell's, Thanatos' snickering was audible enough. He was making no effort to hide it. So Benson just came up to the conservatory and just pulled a gun out? Wouldn't be the first time. He said something first, though. We talked for a bit, but I didn't expect a gun to be pulled out.
What did you two talk about?
The bombs? Jack's arrival? More importantly, he wanted to know my alibi for the night Orlando died.
I gulped, looking to the others.
Well? Dean looked to Haas, and I did too. He frowned, his frown didn't fade as his eyes looked to like they were trying to stare through the barricade into Roswell's room.
And what was the alibi, Roswell?
I was in the house. I ran into Dave before he went running outside.
Where in the house?
I lingered for a bit, but I was downstairs for a little bit, looking at the vault.
All right. Don't leave us in suspense. Roswell, one last question. Did you kill Oswin?
No, I didn't kill him. Roswell stepped back, brow furrowing. Something was bothering him, and it didn't seem as though Dean noticed too.
We'll be back, Roswell.
Take all the time you need. We wandered a little ways down the hall before Dean stopped Haas suddenly.
And?
And what? He said he didn't kill Oswin. He had an alibi, and I do remember him in the foyer when I came racing downstairs.
I don't get it. Everything sounded like he was telling the truth after we called him out on his lie, but it was off, somehow. Maybe because I couldn't see him. Maybe because it was just his health, but...
But what?
You've watched TV before, right? Sure. Ever seen a crime drama? This would be the part where the detective goes into the side room after interrogating a witness and he says, he's lying, but I don't know why, acting on a hunch in the face of no evidence.
So you have a hunch he's lying?
I don't know what to think. All I know is that Roswell isn't being entirely honest with us. Where does that leave us? I don't know. Shy of waiting for Sal's meeting with Memphis, I don't know what's left for us.
I guess that's all we can do, right? The three of us went and watched a movie, or maybe not watched so much as just something playing while we sat there occasionally looking at each other. But what did you watch? Guys, what did you watch? This is an important question. We were all worried, and none of us were certain as to what was happening, and personally, I was sick of waiting. Eventually, we called the day there, skipping dinner as well from the fact of from the lack of hunger any of us expressed. We just turned in instead. I closed the bedroom door behind me as I followed Haas to his room. He'd been deeper in thought since we decided to turn in and been distracted when Dean said goodnight. Haas, you're still frowning.
Yeah, just thinking.
About?
Roswell.
What about him? Dean's gone to check in on him before he goes to bed, but I guess that's not the same, huh?
I just don't understand.
You're not alone there.
Why us? Why now? Why anything, really?
Angie boy. Wrong place, wrong time?
It feels too convenient. Scripted.
Like, how?
Just how things are playing out. It's almost too cramped and... Yeah, it's almost too camp in how dramatic things are building up. The climax of meeting the mafia boss tomorrow. The friends accused of murder, but hiding something.
Hiding what, though? He answered all your questions, didn't he? Good night, everyone. Alright, see ya, Maestro.
It's how he answered them. Something just isn't adding up to me.
And no guesses on what?
He either lied about being downstairs, or killing Oswin, or maybe he was half telling the truth or about something.
I don't get it.
Consider it, close to, like, lies by omission. Thinking of it this way, if you were to ask me what color my shirt is, you know what to expect, right?
Purple, obviously.
But what if I was only borrowing this shirt and you didn't know that? I could say, red, even though I'm wearing a red shirt, and still be telling the truth.
But I'd be seeing a purple shirt and think you're just bad at lying.
Maybe. I'm doing a bad job of explaining this properly, but yeah, basically.
So Roswell might not have been downstairs, but actually was, or didn't kill Oswin, but kinda sorta did?
It's dumb, but that's just where my mind is at. The sooner I stop thinking about it, the better. Which I guess will be tomorrow.
Which I guess will be tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
He dropped himself down onto the bed and ran his hands through his mane, massaging his head.
Let's just get some sleep. The faster tomorrow comes, the less I need to be thinking about it.
Want me to be the big spoon this time?
I'm not going to say no, but I'm fine being Big Spoon if you want to be cuddled.
I do, but I think you need it more right now. We got comfortable and settled into bed. As we lay there, I could tell Haas was still thinking things over from how his tail was twitching. It reminded me of Tyson, and being reminded that he was gone just made me hug Haas closer to my chest. Oh my god, he gets to be the big spoon for once in his life. Congratulations, Dave. He was right. The less we needed to think about what was happening in hopes that it'd be over tomorrow, the better. Eventually, we both drifted off, and it was likely for the best. Okay. As I slept, the events of the previous day played through my head. Jack showing up, the bombs, Benson being shot, and then Roswell being confined to his room, as is deserved. Memphis was coming. So many things were going wrong, and there was no telling what we could do to still keep it out alive. But there was one thing that was bothering me, something that I just had to go and see for myself, as it was enough to rouse me from sleep. Something didn't add up. Something that I had to see for myself. After what Haas said about when we questioned Roswell. Yes, I'm getting there. But not only that, the sequence of events didn't line up well either. Where did Roswell get a gun? How exactly did things play out up there? I could smell it the moment I opened the door. Blood covering the floor and Benson's body laying on its side in the middle of the room. You guys didn't clean it up yet? My hand hovered over the light switch, but I opted instead to stay in the darkness. The vague outline of Benson was enough, with the moonlight was filtering in from the window. Okay, it'll only be... Edging forward, I tried to piece together what happened. I ran into Benson in the basement. Then he sent me through the passage to the library. Then from there, he must have come up here and spoke to Roswell or something. Talking to yourself? Always. I almost jumped upon hearing Thanatos speak, though I couldn't see him. Well, not as if sleeping is a good option these days. Didn't think I'd see you in here tonight. Couldn't sleep. And you thought to come here. He climbed up into view by the window, looking to the outside world and waving me off over his shoulder. Really messed up thing to do, Dave. I had to know why it didn't make sense in my head. How this happened. Well, make it, what I see makes it pretty obvious. Why don't you go have a look for yourself? What part? Oh, jeez, I don't know, Dave. Why don't you have a look at those weapons on the floor? The guns, you mean? You'll see for yourself. Just have a look. I pulled my eyes away from the silhouette and towards the weapons on the floor. They looked like guns for sure, but upon closer inspection, something was off. One was certainly a gun, but the other... Thanatos? He disappeared from the window and reappeared nearby, skulking quickly through the dark to stand near the gun on the ground. That's Benson's gun, right? Without the normal silencer, yes. Where did it go? Why wasn't it on the gun? Must have been taken off. Sure, but what about this other gun? I reached out for the other. I realized what it was. This wasn't a gun, but an injector that Oswin used. Wait, what? Why is this here? Where's the other gun? What other gun? If Roswell used one to kill Benson, and Benson had one to threaten Roswell... I trailed off, the comment sinking in the longer Thanatos added nothing to the conversation. What happened in this room? Ask Roswell. He'd probably know. Benson was shot by Roswell, but the only gun here is Benson's, which means Roswell shot Benson with his own gun, somehow. Man, you could feel those gears in his head turning, right? Like he's Dave's trying, and so am I. That could be what happened. Just what happened? Gee, Dave, if only there was someone you could ask. I know, Roswell. If you know, why are you still here? Because I like talking to you. It's the middle of the night. Roswell's probably asleep. Plus, all of this is still just sinking in. Oh, yeah. All right. That's fair. My eyes caught sight of Benson's body sprawled out on the ground. While mostly shrouded by the dark, I could tell he was dead, and a chill ran down my spine. I had to get out of here. I left without saying a word. Yeah, a word more to Thanatos, or even looking back to the weapons on the floor. I left everything essentially as I'd found it, but I had questions. So many questions, just no way to properly put them into words. A quiet whine left my mouth as I collapsed on the ground just outside the conservatory. Covering my face, I could just return to bed, try and get more sleep, and pretend, if only for a moment, that things were normal. But we were far past normal in any sense of the word. I was ready to just accept things as they were handed to me, more so than usual. And carefully, I wandered over to Roswell's door, or rather the barricade built up in front of it, seemingly no different to how it had looked before we'd turned in for the night. Roswell? My voice was held low as I called out again, leaning closer to the door and knocking slightly on the part I could reach. Moments passed before I pulled back, having gotten no reply, looking around the floor to what rooms I could see, and thinking about the ones that I couldn't. I thought to those still within the house. Dean, Sal, Haas, Roswell, and myself. That's all, sure. The others were still here, but they weren't people I could go and seek comfort in. Not people I could go and talk to about my worries. Heading downstairs, I sat back down on my feet. So my feet were resting on the floor on the entryway, looking towards the front door. Had Memphis expected expected an explosion given we'd found the bombs? Had he accepted that Jack wasn't going to be coming back and was just waiting until morning? There was the option that he'd run. Any smart person. I'm gonna sneeze. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. There was the option that he'd run. Any smart person would, if they were able, but it's not as if that option was available to us. Ah, thank you, Crush. That's what I kept telling myself anyway. I could run off on my own and get off the mountain just fine. I could just leave and be done with it all, sacrificing the rest of my friends for whatever was to happen. Plus, giving up on bringing either Tyson or Orlando back home. Dave? Who? That was blue text. It was question marks, but I bolted upright upon hearing my name, but I wasn't convinced that I was only hearing things. But I wasn't convinced that I was only okay. The way my fur stood up on end, and that feeling of being watched made me look behind me, then down any corridor I could see from my spot at the base of the stairs. Hello? My head was starting to hurt. Immediately I thought of Thanatos, but reasoned it must just be from the lack of sleep, given how restless I'd found myself, even considering how I'd been put under by Thanatos, but I wasn't keeping that as a decent sleep. I returned to bed and fell asleep immediately, just letting the exhaustion take me. Just letting the exhaustion take me. Roswell was who I needed to talk to in order to make sense of all of this. He held all the answers, or at least that's what I told myself. In front of me, I could see the place I wanted to return to the most. A familiar street, a familiar house, all of which I've known all of my life to be safe. Down the street was where Tyson lived, or once lived. The house next to mine, a long time ago, was where Roswell called home. Somewhere beyond the street was Dean, Haas, Orlando, and Sal. Each of them had homes of their own, and I wondered if my friends were dreaming of their own safe places. My neck and jaw started to hurt, a dull ache that seemed to come from a wound that didn't exist. Oh. Wait, that's the cabin, right? Yeah. A place I didn't recognize was filtering into my head, overlaying on top of my house. As I tried to focus on it, it disappeared. In its place came another sharp pang of pain in my side, making me feel cold. Then it all disappeared at once. The cold, the sights, the sounds, all into just a black silence. What greeted me next, when I opened my eyes, was the very place I fell asleep. No better rested, no reassurance. Things were going to be fine. Um, just that I was still here in the mansion when I'd rather be home. I rolled out of bed and got dressed, walking into the hall and looking down to Roswell's still barricaded room. Internally, I was telling myself to go get coffee first, and Roswell wouldn't be awake, but I pressed on regardless. A quick knock on his door later, and I found myself listening close to his door, almost flinching when I heard the doorknob move. Roswell? Dave? What's wrong? I could barely make out what part of him was peeking out from behind his door, thanks to the barricade, but at least he was awake. I had questions about what happened. Is now a good time to get into that? I haven't had coffee, but it's been stopping me from sleeping. Well, all right. What did you want to know? Could you tell me what happened again? Walk through exactly what happened before Dean found you. There was a pause. Maybe he was thinking it over. Maybe he was just going to say no. But right as I went to ask if he heard me, he spoke. It's the same as I told you yesterday. Benson arrived in the room, pulled out his gun, and tried to shoot me. And then you fired back? Yeah. There was only 2 shots that I heard, but given that there was only one gun that could fire bullets in the room, I had to assume they came from the same gun. With what gun? One that was in the room already. That's right. But Roswell, that can't be what happened last night. I just checked the room before and there wasn't 2 guns. He didn't respond, but I could hear his fingers slightly drumming against the door. So, how did Benson die? Why would you lie about that? That's what I want to know. I spun around and saw Dean and Haas standing there, tired but definitely awake. How long have you two been standing there? Long enough. That's not an answer. Right when you said that's not how things could have gone. Then you said you'd check the room. Well, did anyone else? No. I haven't either. Can we assume Sal didn't as well? Sal didn't as well. What? Okay. Did you go check the conservatory since everything happened? And he continued to water over to us, stopping beside Dean and shaking his head. I had no reason to believe Dean would lie about Benson's passing. So no one else has seen, actually, wait. Dean, I have a question for you. Me? Well, sure, fire away. So, when you retrieved Roswell, you saw 2 guns, right? Right. But that doesn't make sense. You're sure that there were 2? I didn't exactly stop to check, but they looked like it. I was too busy looking between who was in the room and didn't have the time to really, get a good look. When I checked, there was only 1. I swear I saw 2. At the very least, it was 2 gun-looking things on the ground. That's a very big thing to just overlook. I get how, he would have missed that. But the bigger problem is what hole it puts in Roswell's story. What hole? If Benson had a gun and fired, but there was only 1 gun, how did Roswell shoot him? Well, he didn't have a gun on him when I arrived. I would have noticed that at least. Even if it was tucked into the back of his shorts.
Then everyone would have noticed it there when he was unconscious. We moved him into the room. It kind of feels like Roswell didn't shoot him after all, huh? Even though he said he did? Did we even check if there's a bullet hole in Benson? Is that not a thing we did? Probably not. Well, something's not adding up. As we were discussing things, I had forgotten Roswell was also present, and looking back to the barricade cautiously, wondering where to go from here. Roswell, you've been listening, right?
Yeah.
What happened up there? Oh, what? Cause wait, I'm lost. I lost my place. Okay, there we go. Cause what you said happened. What you said happened couldn't have.
You're sure?
Oh, okay. Okay, this little bitch. This little fucking bitch over here. If there was only one gun in that room, what was the other item? An injector gun. So it was a gun? No, not one that you would make a loud bang, or potentially kill someone. Unless there was a poison or something in it, but we absolutely heard 2 gunshots. But if that's the case, then, if Roswell was telling the truth, where would this 4th gun have come from? 4th? Benson had his own, likely the one he threatened Roswell with. He gave Oswin's to me, and Dean had Dominic's. And we're sure that Benson had his own gun. If the only thing was just an injector, he could have easily... he could have gotten one easily enough. He said yesterday that Benson tried to shoot him. I don't imagine he would have just pulled his gun out and not shot. He did...
He did, though.
I don't get it. That makes 2 of us. Not that. Just now. Roswell wasn't lying. Benson pulled out his gun and shot. How do you... How can you be so sure about that? Doesn't that create a problem? Then where Roswell would have the injector? Not if you consider the other option. Which makes less sense in practice, but resolves the amount of guns. And that is? Benson shooting himself. But Roswell said he killed him. If he committed suicide, then... All eyes went to the barricade, expecting an answer from Roswell. But nothing came. And instead all of us feeling uneasy and confused. We really don't have much time to be worried about the specifics of this. We don't, but it doesn't make sense. Did Roswell kill Benson or not? The reason why I say it doesn't matter is because in every likelihood, we'll have Memphis arriving today, potentially with backup. I don't think he would come with backup. There's not enough game sprites for that, right? Even with Jack and Dominic out of the picture. There's no telling if there are any others in the woods, or if he didn't go and call in some more help when Jack didn't come back. Not to mention when the bombs didn't go off either. If he was the one that said to plant them, he might have been using the explosions as a sign to leave. So he's still here? There's very little chance that he left, especially when he's lost 2 of his associates already. It implies that he's, what he's after is worth defending. Which means? The next person to arrive, be it with company or not, will be Memphis. Of that I'm certain. Then what do we do? Run? Hide? To make things worse, we still need to figure out what we're going to do with Roswell.
I have a contingency, though I can't do it while I'm barricaded in my room.
Will it stop him from hurting us?
If it works, we won't need to worry about him anymore.
I'm noticing how you didn't actually answer Dave's question there.
Because I don't know. I don't have a lot to work with, after all.
There's another option, though. It's not great.
We leave without Roswell. By the main road. Less than ideal, but it's an option.
I know Roswell was still listening, and here we were considering leaving him behind. He didn't offer anything on that point. It didn't, though the implication was heavy. Can we hide?
Where? Why?
The cabin in the woods, of course. Or does this timeline version of Dave not know about that? That would be a place to go, right? Just please not let it be the hedge maze. That was always a dumb idea. I don't know, we don't know what happened, and we're looking at leaving Roswell behind, plus the others.
Well, what do you want to do, Dave? Dave, I don't think this is an appropriate line of questioning.
Oh, Dean. Dean. That says Dean. Too many D names. What I want to do?
Yeah. Like right now, what is it you want to do? We should do with everything going on.
I don't know.
Here's a question. Is there any way we can ensure that Roswell can make it over the gap in the road? We toss him.
We pick him up, and we throw him. There are two strong lads here. We can do it. And by we, I mean those two, Sal and Dean. Just toss him over.
There's no guarantee that any of us will. Just that some have better odds than others. But the alternative is to just wait and see what happens.
Finally a good plan. Oh, hello, Dolphin.
Which sounds like a dumb idea when we know who's arriving. We should go.
Is there an option where only some of us go and others stay behind?
You mean to go get help? Do you think it's likely someone's going to make it to safety and find help, then come back equipped enough to deal with Memphis before it's too late?
Jeez, you need to settle down, I think.
Catapulting the gremlin? Please let me do that. Please. Thanatos?
Figured I'd give you guys some time to figure things out, but no, you're still here talking about it.
Are we running out of time?
Let me put it to you this way. You're not gaining any time.
Okay. I look over to Sal and Dean, the two of them having a silent conversation with one another with slight gestures with their heads and eye movements. By comparison, Haas's attention flicked between Thanatos and the barricade in front of Roswell's door. What should we do?
I can make this easier. I should stay behind if anything happens. I'm dying anyway, but if my plan works, I can deal with Memphis.
How?
He has a plan.
Dean and Sal wandered off, heading into Dean's bedroom and out of sight. Haas also nodding to himself, a bit retreated into him. Yes. The doors were left open, and I could hear them rummaging, looking for things, or maybe packing a bag. It was hard to say. That's not helpful. Dean with a deal with Memphis? How?
Nothing short of killing him will do, but...
Just don't.
You sure about that, Dave?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Roswell decided to lie about what happened in the conservatory. I don't know what his plan is, or if it's going to be dangerous, and there's no telling if it'll work.
You don't have any faith.
I just want to run. I just want to leave.
And you're fine with that. Leaving poor Orlando behind. And poor Tyson.
They're dead. They're in body bags in the freezer. Like, Like, I don't know, man. I clench my fist and quickly cross the distance between us. In one motion, I grab him and squeeze him tight. Now listen here, you piece of shit. Like, I just assume that Dave is an angry boy. You know what I mean. Just don't. What are you going to do, Dave? How could you possibly stop me? He's too powerful, guys. He's too powerful. I could throw you out a window or down the stairs, or any number of things. And that accomplish what? This is just a second body for me. It wouldn't kill me at all. I'd make it feel better. Oh, it'd make me feel better. Dave, think this over. What if you need him? It's his fault Tyson's dead. That Orlando is dead. If he's so set on letting our friends die, then what good is he? Then kill me, Dave. Or at least try. No, I did it before. Wait. Yeah, I did it before even thinking about it. Throwing him over the railing down to the foyer below. The sound was unpleasant, like a clunk followed by something else breaking, mostly just how it echoed from downstairs. Thanatos? Then I turned to Roswell's barricade, staying quiet. Dave? Anyone? I'm here. Hell yeah. Oh no. Hello, boy. And what was that sound? You didn't. I did. No idea if he's broken now or not, but well. Oh. I could hear the sadness in his voice, though I couldn't figure out why. I'm going to ask just one more time, Roswell. What happened between you and Benson? You wouldn't believe me even if I told you. So, this is just easier. I didn't expect him to do... What I didn't expect him to do was to just close the door. I didn't expect that he'd end the conversation without clarifying. Another lie, maybe, but nothing at all. Carefully, I wandered away in a daze, heading downstairs to see if Thanatos was indeed broken. As I edged closer, I could see him moving, though it was in sharp, jittery movements, as if each of his limbs were being controlled by different people. I watched as for a few moments before he fell still again, dropping to the floor and the light in his eyes going dim. Are you just playing around, or are you dead? Without thinking about it, I picked him up, and he went limp. Heavy, but limp, as if something inside him had broken.
Dave? What are you doing?
Looks like Thanatos is broken.
Oh no! Well, there's nothing we can really do about it, is there?
Dean held his hand out for the rat, and I handed him over. Turning it over in hand, he seemed to make note of what seemed off, nodding to himself.
Fixable. With the right tools, I think. Though, how did this happen? Did he fall?
Oh, he fell all right.
I threw him over the railing. Well, no wonder he's broken. If I'm being frank, I'm surprised that such a thing would break him.
Well, he's still only built as if he's a toy.
Landing the wrong way will still do a lot of damage.
It's not like he's going to be of any use to us anymore, even if fixed.
Throwing him over the banister is going to do that.
Wait, is going? Okay. So what are you two doing? You wandered off for only a few moments, but...
About that, we're leaving. You are? The both of you? Indeed. Though, while we cannot force you to come, I, for one, would recommend it.
And just leave. What about Tyson and Orlando? And what about Haas and Roswell?
So, that's something I'm still deciding for myself.
You are?
This is not what I expected. Why the hesitation?
Something about Roswell's story is bothering me. It's bothering Dave too, but there has to be a reason. Oh, actually, wait. Let me adjust the game audio. There we go. That looked really quiet. I didn't notice this whole time. Something about Roswell's story is bothering me. It's bothering... Okay. Don't get me wrong. I fully intend on following. I just might lag behind a little. You're just going to talk to him?
Something like that. I'd say that we could wait, but given how the past couple days have gone, the sooner the better. I don't quite know how much of a morning person Memphis is.
As in?
As in he could step in or be up at dawn.
Oh, sleep in or step... Okay.
And already making his way here. Especially after what Thanatos said about not gaining time. So the plan is, I suppose, Sal and I will head to the road and try to call for help. For the moment we get a signal. Anyone that we can get a hold of. Ideally, we'll have everyone present, and we can make our escape, and have a lot of resources available to us upon our return.
Had a bird in their group. Well, just because they, like... Not all birds can fly, Dolphin. I can't fly. I'm a sad boy.
So coming back for Roswell, Orlando, and Tyson? Of course! But in order to have a chance, it requires us to leave.
And you're sure you're staying, Haas?
Not for long, but yes.
You can't stay here by yourself. What if something happens?
If you want to stay, then you're more than welcome to. I'm not staying for all that long, or planning on it anyway.
Then I'll stay too, if only for a little bit. We should stick together, safety in numbers and all that. To the professionals? Oh my gosh. Okay. Haas stepped forward and put an arm around my shoulder, squeezing me a little.
Stay safe. We'll meet back up on the main road, I guess.
Dean passed Thanatos back to me and looked over to Sal. Again, they had that silent conversation before both of them looked to us. That's what that says.
Well, see you both soon.
It didn't feel right watching them go. It didn't feel right watching two of my friends disappear out the front door and out of sight, leaving me alone with Haas. We should have been leaving together, all of us.
We better be quick. If we're quick enough, we might be able to catch up to them before they even hit the end of the driveway.
It's a long driveway, so I'd hope so.
Come on. We have a board to question. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can leave.
We started to head upstairs, and I paused about midway, wondering just what I'd be able to take, what I'd be able to come back to get, and how long it'd take to get to the point.
What's wrong?
Nothing, just No, don't worry about it. He kept walking, maybe just not wanting to get into it. In no time, we were back outside Roswell's room, and Haas reached through and knocked on his door.
You're obviously still in there, Roswell, so open up. We need to talk.
The door creaked open, slowly, Roswell's voice coming through from the other side.
It was already open.
Because?
I was trying to listen in on anything else that might be happening. Did I hear correctly? Did Dean and Sal?
They both left.
Oh.
Look, Roswell, things are screwed up, but we're leaving. People have died, and no one's putting up with it anymore. Even Dave isn't trying to convince us to stay.
When?
As soon as you're done telling me and Dave what the hell you're up to. Haas ran his hand through his mane, breathing in deep. No more lies. No more playing around. You can come with us or take this chance for... take your chances for when Memphis arrives. But if you want to come, we need answers.
What did you want to know?
What happened in the conservatory? What happened that ended up with Benson's death?
I said before, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, so why are we doing this again?
Because this time I'm asking. If Dave won't believe you, then maybe I will. Roswell scoffed, chuckling to himself on the other side of the door.
I don't think that's likely.
Try us.
You know, given Dean and Sal have already left, I don't have much of a choice, do I?
Whoops. Binding the keys on different things. You know how it is.
Sometimes these hotkeys are hard to figure out.
Of course you have a choice. Don't tell us and don't come. Or try and maybe you can come.
Well, Benson showing up to the conservatory and pulled out his gun. I was searching the bookshelves and the couches for any bombs.
So far that makes sense.
He asked me what I was doing. I told him, and then he trained his gun on me. But then he said, "This is for my son," and shot himself right in the head.
What happened next? Up until Dean came and got you.
I don't know what to do, but grabbed an injector that was nearby. I didn't have a weapon otherwise.
But he shot himself. Why would you need a weapon?
I wasn't thinking, but it was so surreal that I went over and kicked his gun away, just in case, but then it sank in, just how wrong it was. I dropped the injector right there. I backed into the corner and, well...
Dave, we're leaving. What? He's lying. I don't know why, but he's lying about his recount of what happened. Do you know what he's lying about? I look over to the door, and Roswell was quiet, possibly listening in, but he wasn't arguing. About against what Haas was saying so far. For starters, remember we heard 2 gunshots. Why was there only one in Roswell's story? Well, Roswell? No response, even after waiting for nearly a minute. All right. If you're not going to talk, I'm taking Dave out of here. Yeah, okay.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Well, I'm convinced you're not being honest with us, and there's no reason why you should be lying. And frankly, I've had enough. Haas marched towards his room and disappeared out of sight. I took one last look at the barricade before following Haas. He was already looking around his room, picking up things and shoving them into his pockets. What are you doing? Trying to think. Getting essentials that I can't live without. Like your phone? I am a zoomer. A wallet and stuff too, yeah. He dropped onto his bed, rubbing his face. I don't get it. I'm so confused with what's going on with Roswell. But we can't afford to stick around and find out. How come? You said he's lying, but... That's just it. He's lying through omission. Everything he said, read as truth. He's leaving something out deliberately. Why did Benson shoot himself? Why did he do it for his son? Why did Roswell lie about it? Exactly. Not that it matters. We're not out of here. We're out of here. It's not worth risking it.
Can we just wait a second? A minute, maybe.
For what, Dave?
It just feels so wrong to leave things like this. It feels wrong to just not know the answers.
Do you have have an idea on how to get those answers? Because I don't. I'm tired. I want to go home. I want to see my brother and sister again.
He stood suddenly, placing his hands on my shoulders.
It's not worth it, Dave.
But we've got to do something, right? We can't just, Can we?
Just give up, Dave.
Huh?
Let what happens. If Roswell had respect for us, for any of us, he'd be honest. Orlando and Tyson are dead. Benson is dead. Dominic and Jack are dead. Even Oswin is dead. And even with all of that, he's insisting on not telling us the truth.
But...
Listen to me, Dave. Take a few moments to breathe. Grab what you need to take with you, and let's go catch up with Sal and Dean. All right?
Only a few moments? That's all we get?
Look, Dave.
Do we have time? Do we have time for me to say goodbye to Tyson? To Orlando? Dave, please. Dave-chan? Dave-chan. Please understand.
Are you sure that's what you need to do? You need right now?
Who knows when he'll be back? Who knows when I'll get to see him again? He groaned and went limp, shaking his head.
All right, fine. I'll wait by the front door. Just try not to be long, all right?
I rushed to my room. At first knowing what I wanted to grab before slowing down to a halt. We've been in the house for weeks and finally leaving. Not after a happy holiday, not after a last hurrah, but after so much death. You heard about those things happening on the news, the tragic events that happened, and you never think it would happen to you, especially with your father in the police. Dave is so suicidal. Oh my god. He's a lad, that's for sure. Eventually, I was ready and headed downstairs to say my goodbyes. Haas seemed antsy as I passed him in the foyer, but I couldn't blame him. I'd left Thanatos on the dining room table, having realized I was still carrying him around after Dean had passed him off to me. I didn't want to take him, or even need to take him. He was better left behind.
No! Take the boy!
My hand was on the freezer door. I couldn't bring myself to go in. Minutes ticked by as I tried to bring myself to go in, to say goodbye to my friends that wouldn't come with us. I don't know how long I was standing there, but the moment I stepped away, I was resolved. I would come back for them. I would come back once things were more under control. Well, that sounds fun. But that sound from somewhere far off made my blood run cold. Haas? He was peeking out of the front door, snapping it shut when I came running into the foyer.
You heard it too.
It wasn't, was it? Could it be?
I don't know, but I have a bad feeling about this.
Just leave. Just leave. Like, if Roswell shot himself, that's fine. Just leave. What do we do? Did Sal and Dean make it out all right?
I don't know.
Oh, well, they should be at the end of the driveway by now, right? Would we have heard a gunshot that far away? I don't know. What do we do?
I don't know.
Okay, so, we need to get out of here. We need to get somewhere safe.
What?
We need to bring Roswell, otherwise he's just going to be in danger. Away from Roswell's door, unsuccessfully, he started to help. Started to help, though only until the piece of furniture was out of the way before stopping.
Dave, wait.
You can hear a gun from a mile away depending on the bullet. Okay. Okay. No. He grabbed me by the arm, hard. Listen to me. Are you sure about this? What else are we meant to do? I continued to pull things away from Roswell's door, and then push it open. Roswell, help me move the last thing from your side so we can get you out. Only after we'd toppled the bookshelf, in a way to let Roswell climb over it to freedom, did I realize just how much the others had worked to keep him in one place.
What's happening?
We're leaving, together. Dave blindsided me with a decision, but we have to go. We heard a gunshot, and that can only spell trouble.
From which direction?
You think we thought that far ahead? Plus, with how it echoes around here, who can say?
Well, chances are, if someone's firing a gun, it would have to be from the direction of the main road. Surely.
And that's where Dean and Sal went. Which means they could be in trouble, or worse.
You mean dead?
That's not the kind of thing to say. The kind of thing to say when trying to avoid panic, Roswell. You know, we only did hear one gunshot, right? If they did get into trouble with Memphis, then... You think one of them might still be okay?
Alternatively, one of them shot Memphis and it's safe. They both had guns, right?
That's true. I don't feel completely sold on that idea, but what if we go and look only to find it was a trap? What if we go and we can all leave right now?
Well, at the very least, you might be able to leave. I think I'm crossing that gap safe. I don't think I'm crossing that gap safely. We'll toss you. It's fine.
God, why does this have to be such a rough decision to make? If Memphis fired his gun, we're in danger staying here. If it was someone else, then it should be safe.
You're sure that it has to be just one of these options? If anyone else, even someone else on the mountain misfires their gun, it could complicate things.
What do you mean? That just mean it's safe, right?
Eat the poor affectionately. Not exactly. Consider how reacted the gunshot. If Dean and Sal heard the gunshot thinking it happened here, they might come back. If Memphis heard it, he might stay away or arrive sooner. Who knows?
So what? You want us to stay here?
Oh, I have no idea what the right call is. Just that whatever gets decided upon needs to be properly considered against all other options.
Well, I'd like to know if Dean and Sal are fine. Plus, if there was only one shot, maybe it's safe. And if it isn't, then they might need help.
The other thing to consider is if they've heard the gunshot and started to come back, if we meet them midway, then escaping from there would be safe. Them having just come from the road, after all.
I don't like it. I don't like this. Well, we can't stay here. That has to be the wrong decision.
So, the road or the woods?
The road it is. Getting lost in the woods with any number of goons lurking in there is just a bad idea, especially when we have no way to navigate it. Roswell started climbing down into his room, calling over his shoulder.
Dave, go grab Benson's gun. He might be needing. Wait, it might be needed, depending. I'm just going to grab something from the road, for the road, and we can get going.
Haas headed on ahead, and I detoured to grab a gun. I didn't know if it was loaded, or how to check, and holding it felt wrong. But having a weapon like this was bound to be better than nothing. He was waiting outside already when I appeared, having tucked the gun away in the back of my pants like I'd seen in movies, or so it was out of sight. Roswell seemed to have beaten me there as well, holding a bag of candy. Oh my god. Okay, Roswell. Uh, oddly shaped balls wrapped in a bright orange wrapper. Sorry, I'm ready. We better be quick. Let's get going.
It feels kind of strange leaving leaving like this, but
Strange? Strange? That's the best you can describe it as?
it feels strange that it is strange. Not that it is strange. If anything, it's kind of awful that we don't have much scope to ask for much else. I could feel the look Haas was giving Roswell. He didn't trust him, that much was clear, but started to walk with Roswell following behind. As they continued to walk away, I looked back at the house. A vacation, now finally coming to a close. It wasn't a leisurely walk, but rather when we were powering along just before we could call it a jog. barely talking would have been generous, but it was closer to complete silence outside the sound of our feet landing on the ground. Haas led the way, followed by Roswell and me bringing up the rear. No sign of Dean or Sal, though we still had a long ways to go. On and on we continued until Haas came to a stop suddenly, Roswell almost bumping into him from behind. We could hear footsteps coming towards us, though it was the very last person we wanted to see. Hello, friend.
He didn't even pause, just wandering up closer to us with his gun in hand. No blood, but that didn't make his cold stare any easier. I could see Haas trying to run, but his feet wouldn't let him. I trembled for a bit before remembering the gun tucked behind me, but I don't dare move. What is that reaction? What do you mean? What do you mean? Look at this lad. Look at this friend. That's not a bad reaction to have. Don't you like to just assume that everyone you meet is your friend? This is our first time meeting Memphis in this path, so he could be a friend. You know. It's fine. Roswell, however, seemed to be the most calm, taking just one step forward.
Now, who do we have here?
None of us replied, which seemed to just annoy him.
Hey, didn't your parents ever teach you manners?
His eyes seemed to hone in on Roswell, looking him over.
Hey, you Oswin's kid?
No?
Where is he?
Who?
He made no attempt to hide the fact that he had a gun, in fact pointing it right at Roswell.
Not gonna ask again. Where's the pig?
Well, I know I'm here. My mom is probably at home. I suppose the only other pig that you could be wanting to know about is back at his house.
Roswell, now's not the time.
I'm not above shooting people. In fact, did it already today, and my finger is itching to pull that trigger again. So give me an excuse.
Fine. If you want Oswin, he's back at the house. You follow this road up and, well, there he is.
And the butler.
He's, Memphis put his gun on me, lazily rolling it from being pointed at Roswell to me, and immediately I put my hands up.
Hey, Benson is at the house too, and no need to shoot anyone.
Anyone else, you mean? But let's go take a walk. Start walking back to the house, and I don't need to shoot anyone.
I looked to Roswell and then to Haas, and it looked like Haas was about to break. His eyes were glued to the gun, pointing at me, and started making odd whimpering sounds.
I said move.
Roswell and I took a few steps back when Haas didn't move. Memphis moved his gun to aim right at him.
You want a bullet in your head? Happy to put one there and a few other places free of charge.
How generous.
So get the fuck up now and start moving, or we're going to have problems.
Haas collapsed, starting to cry and wailing. He looked scared, a tail tucked between his legs. I thought he was going to be shot. That was until Roswell stepped in and got Memphis's attention again.
You want the time machine? Fine, take it. And just leave Haas alone.
Memphis straightened and looked to Roswell, keeping his gun trained on Haas. My eyes went to his fingers, threatening to pull the trigger.
Was going to take it anyway.
Good luck doing it without the key. Kill Haas and you may as well kill all of us because you'll never be able to use it until you get it.
The hell do I need a key for?
It's a vault, isn't it? You should know that every door has a key that keeps it closed. You want to go inside the time machine, you're going to need the key, and finding it is going to be hard with us dead.
Tell me where it is, or I will shoot him.
Go right ahead. But if you do, my lips are sealed.
He pulled out the bag of candy and rolled a piece between his fingers, the orange wrapper glinting slightly. I was horrified, unable to speak, but feeling my arm wobble as I held them in the air. Was Roswell really gambling with our lives here? Thanatos was broken, and he knew that. So if he wasn't the key, what was? Unless it was a bluff.
You, hyena, grab the lion.
I rushed over to Haas's side and helped him up. Immediately he clung to me, sobbing into my shoulder. Memphis then pointed his gun at Roswell and gestured with his head to start heading back to the house. It was a slow march, but Roswell marched forward with Haas and I following behind, Memphis behind us. Though he got impatient with the pace we were going at and shoved us aside, though I kept foolishly following. Maybe it was the fear of being shot. Maybe it was because I didn't want to continue to the road to find out who had already shot. That's what that says. We got within view of the house, and Haas collapsed against a tree, barely able to stand. He kept looking towards Memphis's gun, and my assumption was that he couldn't process anything else.
Move.
Memphis's attention was on Haas again, and Roswell piped up quickly, rolling the same piece of candy in his hand, and the bag, with the bag in the other.
Do you think threatening people with guns actually works?
No words came from Memphis's mouth, but I could see his jaw clench.
I mean, if you're going to shoot at all, I imagine you would have shot me at the very least. But given you haven't done that, well...
Try me.
He strode over to Roswell and placed the gun right between his eyes, resting right against his fur.
No. Oh no, Big Boss Dragon willing to shoot his only way of getting what's inside the house. Well, there goes my plan.
Roswell!
If I'm about to be shot, though, can I at least have some candy?
Using his spare hand, Memphis swipes the bag from Roswell and shoved him again with the gun.
No more games. Move!
Spoil sport.
He started to move again, and I dragged a Haas along, even if it was slow. The front door continued to get closer, and I wondered what was going to happen. If anything, Haas seemed to be recovering enough that he was able to walk through, though he was silent, expression vacant. The whole walk up, Roswell would occasionally throw another jab at Memphis, but didn't get shot. If anything, Memphis's attention was solely on Roswell, and I wondered if that was an opening for Haas and I to get to safety. Just shy of the steps leading up to the front door, Roswell turned around and held out his hand.
Before we go any further, I'd like my candy back, please.
This.
Memphis turned it over in his hand and, with a smirk, gulped down the contents of the whole bag, not bothering to unwrap them. That's a lot of plastic.
Not bad. Nothing left to give back, kid.
Oh, too bad. Okay.
Now get me that key in.
Roswell started to chuckle, backing up a few steps.
Sure, I'll go get that key.
Memphis clutched? Not chuckled. Clutched. That's what that says. His front, brow furrowed. Something felt wrong, and I started to back up. Though Haas was slower to do so, he was doing it on his own. Shakily, he put his sights on Roswell, gun ready to shoot.
What was in that?
Candy.
Listen here, you little shit.
I'm sorry. Maybe not good candy, but it was obviously something I was banking on you eating.
I could see the embers start to crack from the corners of Memphis's mouth, and the moment he did, Memphis grumbled with pain, half crumpling him into himself. He fell to a knee, though still had enough size on us that it didn't change much at all. One more step backwards, and he picked up that we were getting further away, lashing out and grabbing Haas and digging in with his claws, guns pointed up at his chin.
You think I'm fucking around? You!
Dave, get down. Huh?
The embers around Memphis's mouth grew. Flames flashed bright before everything seemed to happen at once. My body felt hot, and I was thrown backwards, landing heavy on the ground. My ears were ringing, my head hurt, and I struggled to stay conscious, let alone open my mouth. The overwhelming smell of fire, charred flesh and fur, made me sick, but I had nothing to give. Yeah, I had nothing to give in the moment, right? Right before I passed out, unsure if I was ever going to wake up again. In that black haze following what happened, I remembered the horrified expression Haas had, either from the gun or the impending explosion, or both. I never get to the answer to. Memphis didn't even seem to know what was about to happen, but Roswell did. He'd planned it. This contingency, this way to deal with Memphis, still ended up getting us all in danger. When I next opened my eyes, the smell was still suffocating. It was on my clothes, my fur, and while my head was ringing, I seemed fine enough. I tried to push myself up, but it was a struggle, settling instead for laying on my side so I could process what it was that I was looking at. The air was cold and the night sky was dark. Hours must have passed with me being unconscious on the lawn. That feeling of nausea returned as I saw chunks of flesh and blood in the spot where Memphis had Haas. Some scraps of fabric still visible from their clothes. All three of them. Scraps of fabric that were once purple, parts of what I assume were once a red bandana. Had the blast really happened? Had it really killed Memphis, but also taken Haas along with him? What about Roswell? Finally, I threw up after pushing myself up onto all fours, and I started to crawl away. I needed to get inside, somewhere away from all the blood and gore. The moment I was through the door, I collapsed behind it, resting back against the wall and trying to settle my stomach. I considered tearing off my clothes just to not be covered in blood, but I couldn't muster the strength.
I do not understand.
Just hearing that voice again made me stand up, patting down my pockets to check if the rat I'd left in the dining room.
I don't understand why.
Inching forward. Inching forward towards the voice, I could tell it was a struggle for him to speak. Or at the very least, his normal voice had static in it, like he was still broken. I approached the door to the dining room carefully. Maybe he just woken up and was confused as to what happened. As I stumbled into the dining room, I stopped in my tracks when I realized who was standing there.
What the? Okay. Hello, Dave.
He looked as if he was trembling, even while standing there, staring at in my direction, but gaze unfocused. Roswell, what's going on? Didn't you? But then, why was I? Is that a hoodie? Oh, he's wearing a hoodie. Okay.
Should we tell him?
Tell me what?
It's over. This is the best that
The best? I struggle to understand. How could this be the best of anything? How could anything that could have happened ever be considered good?
This is a win, right?
We won? Because Memphis is
Dead.
What about the others? They're dead too!
I
flinched, gaze flickering away only to settle on me properly.
But this outcome.
Thanatos scrambled up Roswell's sleeve and stood on his shoulder, much like he did with me. Roswell registered he was there and flashed him a smile, though weak. This is the cutest image of Roswell in this game. Why is this lad cute here? Why? I'm supposed to not like Roswell. Why is he so cute here? That was the gimmick of my playthrough, is just not liking Roswell. Come on! He's so cute here. Have his baby give you. Oh my god.
And keeping you alive, Dave. That's what everything has been about. From the very beginning. Or close enough to, anyway. When you threw him from the stairs, I was worried that he couldn't be brought back to see this, but I got him working again enough.
That Grizz had to rewrite this scene? What? What? Bored. I don't understand. What's happening?
What did you want to happen now? I'm going to need you to do one last thing, Thanatos. I need you to delete your memory of this timeline. Maybe anything that gets close to it.
What's happening? You're just going to... But...
He's the Vault Dave. He can remember all this for us. And next time around, can make sure you survive again. Or at least, remember enough to repeat the pattern anyway. If that's what you feel is best. Please, you need to forget this so that there's a chance that, you know.
Thanatos was set back on the table, and fell quiet, the light in his eyes dimming, leaving just Roswell and I looking at one another.
Dave, this was the best we can do, right?
Roswell, everyone else is dead. How could this be the best? We could have just used Thanatos to remember this for next time, right? Maybe he could have given us a vision, or a warning, or something.
I don't understand. Isn't this was what I thought was the best.
Roswell, our friends died. Was it you? You were the one that killed Benson too.
Everyone dies, Dave. If you die, everyone else does, which is why nothing else matters. It can't.
Says who?
Thanatos.
And what if he's lying? If he's tricking you? Roswell's eyes widened slightly, if only for a brief while before they looked over to where Thanatos was sitting on the table. Did you see it? He looked back to me, trembling again.
Memphis. Guns don't work. Nothing does, so I tried.
But he still killed Haas. It's like you don't even care. Look, he's seen Haas die so many times, it probably doesn't faze him. Heck, I've seen Haas die so many times. His hands were slack at his side, the emotion in his face draining away from worry and shock into nothing. Not sadness or joy or anything else, just nothing.
I've seen it so many times, Dave. You die and
Excuse me.
everyone else dies. So many results. So any result that ends with you alive is at least one more person.
You're exaggerating.
I'm not. Literally, you die and everyone else does.
So what? You're trying to just give up? Just let your friends die?
Well, no, but
And now you've deleted Thanatos' memories. How is he meant to help us? How is he meant to remember so he can give us visions of this?
But
This is what you wanted? Orlando, Tyson, Dean, Sal, finally Haas? Not to mention Benson and Oswin. He began to sway, trembling more. I pulled out Benson's gun and held it at my side. I couldn't bring myself to point it at him or fire. He watched the gun, hands twitching, enough to start to leave his pockets, before I just put the gun down on the table.
you're not going to take it out on me?
What's the point? It's not going to bring back the others.
Then what are you going to do?
I don't know. There's nothing left for me here. There's nothing left anywhere.
Dave,
Save it. I don't care. Yeah, you saved me, but what's the point?
What's the point? You're alive!
And alone. The words seemed to hit something in Roswell. Shock, maybe? But he collapsed into the chair closest to him, looking across at Thanatos. Roswell? No response, though I could tell his breathing was slowing, eyelids growing heavy. When he rested his head on the table, I assumed he was just exhausted rather than dead, but I didn't bother to check. The trembling stopped, and his hands was outstretched towards the rat. I turned to leave, taking one last look around. This place has far too many memories for me to want to stay any longer than necessary. The house was quiet. Everyone under its roof, except for me, was likely dead. It was a cold feeling, a lonely feeling, but not in a bad way. Not in a good way either, just that there was the space that was once filled and now empty. A space that I felt like I was only dirtying up the longer I stood around. Maybe Roswell was right. Maybe he was wrong. But my head was already doing things to keep me moving. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I was freaking out. Something about everyone who was dead, why I was the last one alive, and what was going to happen next. I had my phone, so carefully I wandered over to the yard, towards the driveway. Each step felt painful. Deep down, my heart was breaking, but I wouldn't know it until much later. Each step felt painful. Deep down, my heart was breaking, but I wouldn't know it until much later. Everyone was dead. Every last one of my friends. Gone. Just like that. I felt like I was going to collapse by the time I hit the main road. Not really knowing how I was going to cross the gap didn't even register it as a problem, in favor of noticing someone sitting off to the side. What? I had to blink to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Carefully I approached, wondering if they too were dead or if they were just sleeping. Oh! Oh! Hello! Sal? Why are you shirtless?
Dave? Oh, Dave! You're alive!
And so are you. What happened? Why are you... My eyes, wait. My eyes trailed down his front to where he had his shirt wrapped around his leg. It was it was blood soaked, but far better off than I was. Why isn't he shirtless more often? I mean, you're not wrong. You've been shot.
I'm in pain, but I'm alive, which is a blessing.
Wait, so that means Memphis shot you?
He did.
And Dean? Yeah, he was clinging to hope. I was clinging to hope. I really wanted the next words out of Sal's mouth to be something to the tune of him getting help, but a shaky finger was raised and then directed to the opposite side of the road. Sal, he's...
Memphis threw him over the edge.
It stopped me mid stride, and I immediately didn't want to go looking over the edge to confirm.
He told me to stay put, and that he'd collect me on his way back. That I'd make a good replacement for Jack and Dominic after they ran off.
I took a step back, closing my eyes, and tried to blot out the idea of Dean being thrown to his death. What that would have looked like, what he would have felt, what he would have felt.
Dave, what happened? Where are the others?
They're dead, Sal.
But what happened?
Memphis happened. Then Roswell happened. It's always Roswell's fault. I backed up until I was beside him again, falling to the ground and hugging my knees. Tears were already rolling down my cheeks before I could get more words out. He tricked Memphis into eating a bomb.
But that means... And Haas.
Was right next to Memphis. I couldn't wipe away the tears fast enough, and soon enough I felt Sal's arm wrapped around my shoulders. The moment he touched me, though, I wailed. The dam breaking, breaking further, and I just let it all out. Even through my crying, I could tell he was grieving in the same way. Our friends were gone, but we weren't alone, so as tragic as it was.
Dave, I need a favor to ask of you.
Yeah?
I was able to tend to my wounds as best I could with my shirt, but I'm going to need a proper doctor. To get that, we're going to need to secure some help.
Yeah?
Do you think you could make it?
We both look over the gap in the road. It looked like a tough climb, and I wasn't sure.
I'm not saying go now, or even go far. Just far enough that you could call for help, potentially.
Okay. He lightly grabbed my wrist, stopping me from getting up.
Breathe, Dave. I'll be alright for a bit longer. So, go when you're ready.
Nodding slowly, I settled in next to him to try and get my breathing under control. If anything, though, I kept thinking of the others. What was going to happen with the prospect of home being so close? The danger was gone with Memphis, Jack, and Dominic all dead, or that's what I assumed. Are you sure you'll be okay?
I'll be cold, but that's about it. It might come down with something to... Wait, I might come down with something, depending on how long it takes, but I'll live.
That doesn't sound great.
There's no alternative, Dave. I'll be fine.
We locked eyes for a moment, and I eventually nodded slowly, turning to the climb before me.
Take as long as you need. Don't rush on my account.
With a deep breath, I started my climb, hands shaky, one step at a time, occasionally looking back to Sal to make sure he was all right. He was watching occasionally, giving me a nod, though as it got darker, it became harder and harder to make out his features. But sure enough, eventually my feet found solid ground once again. Sal, I made it! I'm gonna go get help!
Be safe.
I stuck to the cliff wall as I started to wander at a hastened pace down the mountain, following the road. Every now and again, I would check my phone, hoping for a signal to show up, and somewhere near the end of the road, in the middle of the night. Huh? A signal? Staring at the screen, I could see the bars at the top, showing I had reception again. A part of me was scared to do anything in case I lost them, but I dialed someone who I knew might be able to help. The phone started to ring, but it felt like there wasn't going to be an answer. Hello, Officer Baker. It's Dave. David's son.
Oh, I wondered why the voice was so familiar. What can I do for you? Everything all right?
That's a great question to ask, Dave. Sorry for calling so late, but I'm in trouble. A lot of trouble.
How much trouble is a lot of trouble?
I looked around to the empty road, the forest stretching out around the intersection where we had turned off at the start of the month.
Dave, you still there?
Yeah, sorry. It's just been hard.
Are you hurt?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me where you are, and I'll get an ambulance sorted.
Wait, I need one for Sal too. He's been shot, but the road is out, so...
Is Sal all right, Dave?
Yeah, he patched himself up, but...
All right, here's what's going to happen. I want you to tell me what happened while you were there. While you wait for the ambulance. Oh, okay?
And that's what happened. I told him everything after he had called me back after arranging for an ambulance. He was quiet most of the time, but assured me that things were going to be all right. The ambulance arrived, and they took me up to the mountain to save me the walk. Shortly after that, additional help arrived, and they were able to get Sal to the ambulance, and we rode together to the hospital. Oh, see, they were there together. It took Sal a few days to get out of the hospital, and I only left once to have a shower and change my clothes after it became too hard to ignore. Oh God, Dave, don't be a stinky boy. All things considered, things could have gone worse. A lot of this stay was just monitoring Memphis, having missed any major arteries. Romantic trip to the hospital, right? Right?
Dave, I'm fine, really.
I know, but...
Sorry, I don't understand. Oh, I understand. I just feel bad with you fussing so much when there's not much more we can do.
I guess so, yeah.
Has there been any word about the house?
Nothing yet. I just hope I get something soon. Anything would do. Just okay. We've been reading for a while. Words are starting to blend together. I want them home.
Dave, you're not suppressing things, are you?
Maybe, probably. I just don't feel real still. I'm still expecting that when I get home, Tyson will be there, and I'll get a phone call from Orlando or, you know.
Yeah. Were things different, tomorrow would have all lined up with the day I go bowling with Dean. And I suppose he won't be coming now.
He sighed, rubbing his face, and I came to sit next to him. I'm going to miss them, Sal. Man, like, Sal has, like, the best, life record in these bad endings, right? Like, what was it? In like, one of the C or D routes. Like, he lives in that, right? He gets, he gets off better than a lot of the other characters. It's kind of fun. He's a good boy. A little crocky boy. I'm going to miss them, Sal. He took my hand, and once more I started to cry, squeezing his hand back.
We'll miss them together, as long as it takes for it to not hurt.
1 year later!
Oh, exciting. Exciting! Do I have to click a button? Will this just fade? Do I have to click? Click? Okay. And that's about all you've missed so far. Just still hanging in there like you'd want me to. I lightly patted the ground in front of me, looking up at the gravestone with a wry smile. I still have to talk to the others, but I'll be back again before you know it, all right? Looking to the gravestone next to it, I chuckled slightly and got up, wandering closer until I was able to gently touch the stone. The stone. I sighed. Dad, you'll look after Tyson for me, right? Looking back at Tyson's grave, buried next to Dad, the name Tyson Holloway carved into the surface. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Okay. His His dad didn't bother showing to the funeral, and while selfish of me to choose what to have on the stone, it felt right. Ah, so Dave did it.
How are they?
Okay. Sal wandered up from further down the row, the direction of where the others had been buried. Good. I was just about to come and find you, actually.
So soon. We're not in any rush.
So even though this is the Haas route, right? We definitely just start dating Sal in this, right? That's the canon ending to Path F. Is we just date Sal. That sounds pretty good. Do all roads lead to Sal on this path? No, it's fine, really.
If you're sure.
I nodded quickly, smiling warm if briefly. Come on, it's probably better that we move on anyway. They wouldn't want either of us to just not try and live happily. Deep down, I knew I was going to spend the rest of the day on my best lethargic, not wanting to move and probably cry again, but at least I was functional for the most part. It was different from how things were when Dad died, but it still hit me hard whenever we visited the graveyard.
Well, I'm going to go visit, at the very least. You don't have to come, I know.
Sorry, I'll go say hi to Orlando next. I'm still feeling odd about it all.
After what you saw, I don't blame you.
Asal wandered away as I lingered near Dad's grave. I hadn't told him exactly what Roswell had told me the last time I'd spoken to him. A part of me struggled to believe he was behind everything. Maybe he was only taking credit just so I had something to cling to. Not that it mattered. By the time the police had made it to the house to confirm what bodies were there, they found Roswell already dead. I went to the funeral, we both did, but I couldn't bring myself to go visit his grave. Ah, I see. You Ah, my best friend. I will not visit his gravestone. What, like, come on, Dave. You can go visit, like, Roswell's gravestone and be like, dab, 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 dab. So, that would be fun. We never got all the answers either, with a lot of them being lost the more people died. With a lot of them being lost, more people died. Sal and I eventually moved in together and fell into a routine of sorts, which helped. So we do become roommates. Hopefully as good of roommates as Dominic and Jack. It wasn't the same as having a big friend group, but together we found comfort in knowing how the other felt. Every now and again, we'd notice a few things here and there. The streets seemed quieter, perhaps safer with Memphis gone. But they also seemed sadder without the common occurrences we had in our lives before the vacation to fill our days. No Dean to have coffee with, no Haas to watch anime with, nothing. I kept wondering just how things were meant to play out. If I'd done everything I could, if everything I could meant that there was a way more people could have survived. Roswell's words echoed in my head, saying that I was the reason everyone died everyone died if I died, meaning I had to survive. Sal's take on it, when I eventually told him, was that Roswell had the right idea, that his heart was in the right place, but the way he handled it was awful. Okay. Wow, just throw that out there, yeah. I can't believe he Josh dabbed in front of Tyson's grave. You know it. Years ticked by, and I still didn't know what the right call was. Was he right or wrong? How much pain had to be inflicted for it to be still only necessary? If he orchestrated things, did he set up Tyson turning into a werewolf? Did he make Orlando go outside? Did he call the mafia to show up? There were going to be questions that I never got the answer to, and over time I stopped thinking of looking for the answers. My friends wouldn't want me to live my life stuck in the past. I'd remembered them, and I'd be happy for their sake. Ending F! We got there, guys. We got there. Wait. What? Where does this take me back to? What? Yes? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. It's this one. Okay. That's fine. I think. Yeah. We'll just throw this. We'll throw this down here. I'll throw that down there. There we go. Now where are we looking for? Where are we looking? Well, I don't know. We'll go back to title. That password had to be nerfed twice? What? What the? Because that just takes you back to the werewolf password, right? Right? I wasn't paying that much attention. Though I'm going to, is it worth it to do G? Does G have enough differences from F to warrant going through that on stream? I'm not gonna do it tonight. I'm gonna end the stream after this little conversation because I want to finish eating dinner and I have to go piss. But you know, G has some differences. Yes. Okay. Then we can do that another night. There's still plenty of time before the final build becomes public, so it is what it is. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you around.